My name is Clayton, and welcome to episode 114 of the Watch Dog Podcast. I'm a professional dog runner and watch enthusiast talking to his pals about dogs and watches. How's everyone doing? Thank you so much for listening. You know I appreciate it. I have a special guest for the opening here, and she's not credited in the show notes or the title of the episode, my beagle Lolly. She is snoring away like you wouldn't believe. So if you hear that, that's what's happening. Maybe we need a little CPAP machine, a doggy CPAP machine for Lolly here. But anyway, hope you're all doing well. And I am so sorry you did not get an episode last week. My very special guest for today, we were supposed to record last weekend, and we just had a lot going on. Took some gentle coaxing for her to be on the podcast in the first place, and she just was not feeling it last weekend. We were boarding a dog, had some other things going on, and Sunday night came, and I was hopeful, but nope, she said next weekend. And then, I just didn't have anything else in the idea hopper or time to record, so you didn't get one last week. You're getting this episode, and it's fantastic. Finally get to hear from Mrs. Watchdog, my wife. Before we get there, though, a little housekeeping. Just wanted to say now that we missed last week, I think we're going to press on for several weeks in a row here with an episode. Won't need to take the first Monday of September off because it's Labor Day. It's a holiday here in the United States, so I can record and still get all of my invoicing and everything done. And then I think the first Monday of October falls a little later. So, hey, if we're lucky, I think we're going to cook with like 2 months straight episodes here. Famous last words. I know I have said that in the past and then failed to produce an episode for you, but I'm hopeful we're going to get that done. So yes, we'll have guests, some more solo episodes. Try and get some different guests on that you haven't heard from. And then I know Keith is coming back. I'm going to reach out to some other people who have been on the podcast before as well. So lots of fun ideas planned for all of you. Okay, before we get to our interview with my lovely wife, a couple people asked about SummerSlam. So I just wanted to touch on that briefly. And for those of you who do not like wrestling, don't worry. I'm going to mix in some watch talk. I promise. And I'll make it brief. So the first weekend of August, me and my friend Mario and his son, and then Mario's cousin from Idaho and his daughter ventured from Rhode Island to New York, New Jersey to MetLife Stadium for SummerSlam. It was a 2-night event for the first time, Saturday and Sunday, much like WrestleMania, and rumor is now they're going to make Royal Rumble a 2-day pay-per-view as well. I hope they don't do it to any others. It's a lot. Watching it and being there, if you want to go to it, it was a lot. It's expensive. It's a very expensive weekend. I don't have kids, but the kids that were with us want to buy things, lots of food, even the beer. It's like, gosh, you order 2 beers, it's like $40. So it's an expensive endeavor. And now WWE pay-per-views are going on a very expensive ESPN app. It's going to be like $30 a month. I'm not getting that app. I have subscription overload as it is. I am not getting it. I'll read about them online as it happens. That'll be good enough for me. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so we ventured down. It was Saturday morning. We left. 95 South was a parking lot. We thought we'd get there in plenty of time and maybe go and look at the mall next door, which I'll talk about in a little while, get to our hotel room, settle in. Not the case. Typically, it takes about 3 hours and change to get to MetLife Stadium from Providence. We left at about 9:30 a.m. We literally got there at like 4 o'clock. Our hotel was in walking distance from MetLife Stadium in Carlstadt, New Jersey, a very sketchy Super 8. It was cheap and it was close. So that's all we really cared about. It's not like we are going to be spending a ton of time in this hotel room, but oh boy. 2 beds for the 5 of us, which was also an adventure. Oh man. But anyway, we went to plug something in and the whole outlet fell out of the wall. We got out of there as soon as we possibly could. And by the time we got to MetLife Stadium, the show was about to start. 6 p.m. start. We cut it really close. First night was, the card wasn't my favorite. It culminated with CM Punk versus Gunther for the championship. And CM Punk won. He won the title. And then Seth Rollins' music played. He was going to cash in his Money in the Bank. Only thing, he's been, quote unquote, injured for a while now. They've been faking an injury. He dropped the crutches, ran down and pinned CM Punk as he cashed in his Money in the Bank and won the title. It was quite a swerve. It was amazing. Day 2 then of SummerSlam, early in the day, there's this epic mall that's next to MetLife Stadium, the American Dream Mall. It's also kind of appropriate since Cody, the American Nightmare, was headlining night 2, and his dad, Dusty Rhodes, is known as the American Dream. So kind of poetic. But this mall is incredible. It has a ski hill. It has a water park. I think it has 2 different water parks. It has mini golf. I mean, if you wanted, you could vacation at this mall for a long weekend with your kids, and they'd love it. There's shopping for kids and adults, lots of yummy food. Like I said, a ski hill. I'll try to post a picture in an Instagram post of this. I did take a picture of the indoor ski hill. Man, it's amazing. And it was like blistering hot outside too. So kind of funny to see a packed ski hill in the mall when it's like 85, 90 degrees outside. But it was a bit surreal. Also some watch stores at this American Dream Mall. Mario's cousin is, a budding watch guy. And I tried to work my magic, if I can smell blood in the water, I go for it. So he and I actually split up because he wanted to do some shopping for his wife as well. Mario took the kids for corn dogs and to the arcade, a giant, massive arcade at this mall. And Alex and I went watch shopping. We went to Watches of Switzerland, talked to a very nice sales representative there, tried on some Omega, the new Seamaster that comes on the orange strap with the orange highlights. It's really nice. Again, I would not get it on the mesh bracelet because that mesh bracelet does not work on my wrist. But, what a fun summery watch. And, like I said, it was warm that day. So, if I could make it work, I would have walked out of there with that thing and rocked it on night 2 of SummerSlam. But alas, couldn't make it work. Saw some Grand Seiko. They had Tudor there. Tried on the new burgundy Black Bay 58. Is that what they're calling it? It's a very sunbursty red. That was very nice. I actually was not crazy about that when it was released and in pictures, but I must say I liked it a lot more in person. I think I liked the watch we're going to talk about a little later with my wife more, but that was really nice. And again, try these watches on because they might surprise you. I like that much more in person than I did in the renders. And I think a lot of people said that when they went to Watches and Wonders, they weren't crazy about it in the pictures, and then when they tried it on, it was very impressive. I agree. The dial is beautiful. Then we went to another watch store, and I cannot remember the name of it. It was not a chain as far as I knew, but they had IWC, they had Vacheron, they had Piaget, which I don't think I've ever actually seen in person, so I didn't try anything on there because we were trying to find them, and it was a crunch for time. But they had, what else did they have there? They had Panerai. Yeah, Vacheron. They had some Vacheron. They did not have a 222. You're hearing about them being available now because they're expensive and the way the watch market is going. I was dreaming that I'd be able to at least try a full gold 222 on for once in my life, but nope, that didn't happen. But anyway, then we went to a few other stores. I didn't buy any watches. Again, that Seamaster was tempting, but I should know better at this point to not dabble in the Seamaster anymore. I've only owned 3 of them and sold them all, so I have to quit. I have to stop. Then we moseyed back over to MetLife Stadium for night 2 of SummerSlam. And night 2, the card was much better, and it ended with the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, facing off against John Cena, who was a bad guy, was a heel, and then sort of switched over to babyface Friday night at SmackDown, and then the crowd was behind him all the way. I wouldn't say they were entirely booing Cody, but mixed reactions, but John Cena got almost 100% babyface reaction from the crowd, and Cody won, and then there was another swerve. Brock Lesnar came out, and the place went nuts. I mean, it was so cool to be part of that crowd. We all were screaming our full heads off. That was amazing. But yes, SummerSlam was a fun weekend. After that, we ventured back to our shady hotel room there in Carlstadt, slept, and then left the next morning, Monday morning. Mario's cousin and his daughter had to get on a flight back to Idaho, so we dropped them off at the airport and then ventured back to Providence. So, yep, a lovely weekend. Jelly Roll wrestled on night one, which wasn't as bad as I thought it might be. He's lost so much weight. He looks really good. He wasn't even the biggest guy in the ring either. He looked kind of skinny compared to the wrestler, so good for him. Yeah, it was a fun weekend. And yes, if you go to the American Dream Mall, I mean, this place, fun for all ages. I would not stay at the Super 8 in Carlstadt, though, if you do plan on vacationing at the American Dream Mall. All right. Well, anyway, that was my brief breakdown of SummerSlam. A couple people had asked for it, so there you go. All right. To the interview with my wife, Mrs. Watchdog. As I say in the interview, this is actually the first guest I've ever had in person. And I don't think my microphone loved sharing my little unit here with another microphone. So, yeah, you know, the sound's fine. It's fine. I sound a little echoey, but you probably won't even notice. Now that I pointed it out to you, you will notice. But, yep, it was great to talk to her. I think she had fun. She was a little apprehensive, but nope, she got right into it. She was a trooper. And, yeah, we had a blast. It's about a half an hour or so. Yes, so here we go. My wife, Marissa, Mrs. Watchdog. I'll see you on the other side of this interview. Yes, I am not used to having a person with me in studio or in the corner of our living room. My wife, Marissa, Mrs. Watchdog, joining the podcast for the very first time. You're a long-requested guest by Bobby Legs and others, so we're all very excited that you're joining us. Marissa, thank you for taking the time. I really appreciate it. How are you?
You're very welcome. I'm good. Thank you.
We bought a watch together. You probably saw the title of the podcast. We're going to talk all about that. But, and I know I've mentioned you a bunch on the podcast. Apparently now you have people doing reconnaissance for you, coworkers who listen and report back. I don't think I've said anything too negative, though.
No, I don't think so. No, I do have somebody that I work with who does listen that will sometimes say, oh, you know, I heard you mention on the show, or happy anniversary, because he had heard you mention our anniversary. But yeah, nothing too disturbing.
Those were the earlier episodes. Hopefully he hasn't gone all the way back in the back catalog. Well, if listeners aren't familiar with you, why don't you just tell everybody about yourself quickly, what you do for work, and maybe an introduction about how you got into watches, and maybe your general just approach to buying watches. Because I wouldn't say you're a collector or an enthusiast, really, like I am. You're not nearly as nutty as me when it comes to watches, but you do like them, and you actually have more than I do.
I'm a consumer, and so that typically is what kind of will like gear my purchases. So I'm an OR nurse. I've been a nurse 20 plus years. I really just like shopping. So you had done the deep dive into watches and really got into like the functionality of it and where they come from and that sort of thing. I just happen to like shopping, and I've always liked shopping. And so the watches I buy, I just typically just like the way they look. I just like what I like. I kind of do that with most of my purchases. I haven't done a whole lot of research in any of them. And then this watch in particular, you had done research on it, and I really just liked the way that it looked.
Yeah. So you're typically like Timex. You have a lot of Timex. I mean, you have watches probably that, and I think I did say this on a recent episode when comparing normal people to watch enthusiasts. You have watches in your watch box that I don't think you've worn since I've known you, but that doesn't bother you. You don't stress about that. Where me, on the other hand, I really do. I don't know. I treat them as living things or something, and I feel bad if they haven't been worn, and I feel like that money should be allocated to things I will wear. And that's why, I tend to sell things sometimes. So you don't approach watches like that at all, I don't think.
No, that's probably true. Unfortunately, so when COVID happened, I also sort of stopped wearing a lot of my jewelry because at work I had to wash my hands so often. And then being out and about, I was washing my hands. So I'm always cognizant of washing my hands really often. So that is something that I am aware of. And so I do have watches that while I love them and I love the way they look, also their battery has died. So I haven't gone and replaced the battery. And so that sort of has come up as when I look to them of like, I would wear that watch today, but the battery is dead. So
yeah, we have to get batteries for those and I think we can figure that out.
How to change the battery?
Yeah.
Okay. That'd be nice.
I've done it on a G-Shock before, but we can figure that out.
Yeah, no, I have no idea how to
Unfortunately, do that. Poor Robert has passed away now, so
yeah, we went to him for our batteries.
Yeah, new battery changer guy person. Mm-hmm. So are you allowed to wear watches in the operating room?
I am, on certain situations. So when I'm circulating, I can definitely wear a watch. We use military time at work, so I know this is frowned upon, but I do wear an Apple Watch because it is already in military time, and then I can also see alerts that are connected to my phone, and I can know which one I can and cannot respond to while I'm working. So that is helpful. But yes, we can wear watches. And then I also, like, if you take it off, when I'm scrubbed in surgery, I have to take it off and set it aside. So I try not to use anything that could be really valuable at work that I would hate to lose or scratch.
Now, you work with surgeons who have some really nice watches. Do they wear Apple Watches too, or do they wear their really nice watches when they're doing surgery?
I would say both. Yeah, there's a fair amount who do wear their fancy watches, which I have now taken notice as my husband is a watch guy. And so by proxy, I have learned to recognize a fancy watch, and some of those that are not, that I did not realize would be fancy are fancy. Like, and I do like to show you when I do see those watches.
Mm-hmm. I appreciate it.
Because there's a couple that I have seen that you have acknowledged as it's a watch guy's watch. And so, yes, they definitely wear their watches, and they tie them under their scrub so they don't lose them when they scrub in and that sort of thing. And then there's anesthesiologists who are not scrubbed in surgery, but I do recognize their watches. There's a fair amount who wear their fancy watches to work, and other that would not tend to do that.
Huh. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, I know. Gosh, I think a JLC you showed me before, several Rolex. I think some other like interesting brands that aren't.
Is it called the double brand Seiko? Is that?
Oh yeah, Grand Seiko is double branded. Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Yeah. So one of the surgeons I work with has one of those, and he had shown interest in your Moser, and we had talked about that. So that's how I can tell that he's like a watch guy, because some of those were like, if you know, you know.
So, did you wear watches as a little kid? Do you remember?
No, I don't recall wearing watches as a little kid. We had a little joke actually when I first started in the OR, because I did have a calculator watch.
Oh, yes.
And I am not the best at math. And so I had worn the calculator watch thinking that I would use it at work, because we do plus and minus. Those who don't work in the operating room are unaware. We do count a lot all throughout the entire surgery. And so I thought the calculator watch was a definite bonus to my workflow. And as it turns out, my fingers are too fat to press the buttons on the calculator, but it did catch the interest of another surgeon. And to this day, and I have not worn the calculator watch in like 15 years. And to this day, she still comments on the calculator watch that I had worn that I thought would be part of my workflow. But
do you still have this calculator watch?
I do not have the calculator watch. I was
going to say, you've been holding out on me?
I do not remember what happened to the calculator watch, but I do not wear it. And I do on my Apple Watch set it as like on the little face, you can press the calculator. And I typically don't use it because it is actually hard to use.
Yeah, the buttons are so small. Was it a Casio? I had one, right? Was it like that one?
It probably was a Casio. Yeah. I'm sure it was a Casio. And I think it was pink, and it was super cute. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll use this all the time at work. And it's totally functional. And it is very much not those things.
So now do you just do all that on your Apple Watch?
The math, yes. Yeah. I have to, I bring up the calculator because I'm just, again, not very good at math. And I kind of joke that the universe would know that I would be way too powerful if I could also do math.
So I've been into watches, 6 or 7 years now. And yeah, you have, like I said, you have some watches that I've never seen you wear. You have a Mondaine that I don't think I've ever seen you wear, which was a gift, I think, right?
Yeah, so the Mondaine was actually a gift from a loved one, a family friend on my graduation. And it is a beautiful watch. And I did not recognize how beautiful it was until you had gotten into watches and had acknowledged it. And you kind of saw it and was like, oh, you never wear this. And I just never think to wear it. But it was a graduation from college/nursing school watch.
Then, you have a lot of Timex. You have an eBell, which I think we bought through someone I know who was looking to sell it. I don't think you've ever worn that one either.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, I forgot about that.
Yeah. It's really well built, but it's very small.
Yeah, it came in. It's a really pretty case too that it came in, like the box. Yeah. Like a velvet. Yeah.
So I think when people think of women's watches, they think like flowery, small, blinged out, but that's really not the watch you're into, right?
Tell me about I like a chunkier, I actually like a thicker, chunkier, bulkier watch. And so I did sort of buy into the Timex collaboration with Jacqui.
Oh, yes.
And I just happened to like the look of those watches, and it's a good weight and size. It's probably on the smaller size, I guess, if we were to kind of like my wish list, I guess. I would like them to be bigger, but I do like the way they fit. They look nice. I like the bling of them. And again, I just sort of like what I like. Like I know that they're not the fanciest. I like Citizen too. I like a mesh band, and so there was a couple of the Eco
Drive.
Yeah, the Eco Drive. Yeah, so I have a couple of those that I really like, and I like the band on those, and then the weight and the width of those. I like that look. So, and then I had bought that Citizen that was kind of bulkier, that had like a light blue dial to it, which I thought was really pretty, which was what kind of sparked you to show me the Tudor watch.
Yeah. So I would say you're into Tiffany blue. You have, I think.
We can say Tiffany blue. Okay. I wasn't sure if I could say Tiffany.
We can say it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think anyone's coming after us. So you have two Timex that are that color, I believe. You have the Worn and Wound limited edition they did. It's a manual wind, really nice.
It's blue on blue.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then you have, I think Mr. Wonderful talked about this. He said it looked like a Nautilus, which I don't really think it does, but it's a Tiffany blue Timex. And I think that's automatic also, right?
The square one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So
then the Citizen
Soyosa, which is automatic. So talk about, do you like automatic or do you prefer quartz, do you think?
Well, now I like automatic since, unfortunately, we had lost Robert. So I do really appreciate having to not replace a battery.
Right.
So I do kind of like that. And then plus I had come home to you watching some YouTube video of somebody cleaning watches, and it was actually really cool to kind of see how they clean, and then the functionality of the automatic watch is really fascinating. So,
oh yes, wristwatch revival, I believe. You're talking about. Yeah,
it's like the ASMR, like it's
ASMR,
very soothing, relaxing watching him clean, because I do like cleaning things. So I did kind of appreciate that.
Yeah, he's really cool. A lot of people just put him on, I think, in the background because he is sort of relaxing, and he is just his voice is just very calming in the way he talks about it, in very stressful situations, I think, with very expensive watches. I mean, we watched one with an old Explorer that was worth a lot of money. And, if he screws that up, because he's really not a trained watchmaker, he's kind of taught himself to do all these things. So, one screw up and he could really wreck some really expensive watches. But yes, so I was impressed. I think we watched that together and then I left. And I continued.
Yes, I continued watching it because it was actually very relaxing. And then it also is just kind of cool how Again, I was unaware of all the intricate pieces that go in and all the layers that go into the watch, which I think what triggered your fascination with watches from the beginning, is you had then did like a deep dive and then kind of went from there. So,
yeah, that's the thing. It's really, I appreciate quartz grab and go, because I am somebody who is often running late as an ADHD person. Scrambling. I have all this time, and then before you know it, I have to leave in 15 minutes. I still have a ton of shit to do. So I do appreciate the grab and go nature of quartz, but yes, there's the other side of me that really appreciates how something and a little engine powering this watch. And I mean, my Breitling, the Tudor we're going to talk about, we can wear these every day for 10 years and in theory never have to get it serviced, which I think is amazing. You drive your car for a few months, you have to get it serviced with an oil change to keep it running. These little watches, you can wear them every day, and they're just going to keep on working, which I find amazing.
Yes, we joke all the time about the irony is not lost on me and how much time you lose staring at watch and staring at time all morning. So,
Yeah, I think all of us, everyone listening to this podcast can definitely identify with that. So before I talk about our watch that we bought together, there is a story to lead up to that. So you do like Tiffany Blue, like we said, you have 3 watches. Jokingly, I sent you a post from Topper pre-owned where the Rolex OP Tiffany Blue, which is the unofficial name of it, was for sale. Those were, that's like a $6,500 watch, I think. They were discontinued after like a year, and now retail prices are crazy, or secondary prices, I should say. They're around 20K, give or take, depending on condition. And I jokingly sent you a posting that Topper had that watch pre-owned, and it was like 20,000. And I knew you liked that watch. I knew you loved that color. And I was shocked when you said we should do it. Now, you were flying to visit your mom, and you'd had a couple drinks, I think. So maybe that played into it. That's why I was so surprised. Yeah,
I'm not a good traveler, so I do take gas.
Sorry, we had to let everybody know that. But I think that's why you were so agreeable to buying an expensive watch. And I was like, really? Mm-hmm. And you're like, yes. It had already been out there for a couple hours. They do a drop every Friday at noon. And it had already been out there for a couple hours. So by the time I did go up and try to buy it because you wanted to, it was sold. Thank God. I'm really glad we did not buy that, because I think we probably would have regretted it, even though if we did sell it, we would get our money back. But and then shortly after that, Tudor released the second version of the Black Bay 54. The Lagoon Blue. It's part of their like Daring Watches series. I think they have a chronograph there. I think maybe the pink one or the blue one, and then another Black Bay, and in collaboration with racing teams, F1 racing teams. But this Lagoon Blue Black Bay 54 is part of that. It's a Tiffany blue color, but sort of like a granular sand dial. And I showed it to you because I figured you would like that watch. I tried to force other watches on you. I knew you were game to buy a watch together. So that, of course, got me excited. So I sent you umpteen million. When you were away at your mom's, I sent you umpteen million watches. Like, we could buy this one together. And they were really just watches I liked. And I was hoping you would like them too. But no such luck until the Tudor. So when you saw that watch, what about the Lagoon Blue Black Bay 54 caught your eye?
I was unaware that it was called Lagoon Blue.
Yeah, that's the color.
Yeah, no, it's a really pretty color. I loved the texture of the on the dial, which I thought was just really cool. So the color I really thought was very, very pretty. But then also the texture of it kind of gave it some kind of thickness to it, I guess, and made it like that bulkier feel that I do kind of like. That even though the size of it to me is perfect for me, and then also with the texture on the dial, which I thought was really very pretty.
Yeah. So the Black Bay 54 was released, 2 years ago? And so they have the regular Black Bay, which is 41 millimeters, the Black Bay 58, which is 39, and then this is 37. So a lot of guys like this size, 37 millimeters. The trend is towards smaller watches, I think, with enthusiasts anyway. A lot of enthusiasts are trending smaller when it comes to watches. We have our dog Juniper here who's trying to join in on the broadcast. So, yeah. Hello, Juniper. It's the Watchdog podcast. You're going to get some dogs sometimes. Anyway, so it's thought to be more of like their unisex version. And then especially with this version, with the blue, which I think is appealing to women, it doesn't have a black bezel. It has a shiny stainless steel bezel. And I think a lot of people actually didn't like that when this watch was first released. That was a negative. And I think there's a company, Steel Reef, that's actually offering a black bezel for this watch. I don't know. I kind of like the stainless steel mirror polished bezel. I have that. I'm wearing my Lions Breitling B01, and it has that same sort of stainless steel mirrored bezel. They scratch easy, but I don't really care about that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, no, they do scratch easy, but I do think it looks a little bit more upscale, I guess, and a little less sport, maybe.
Yeah.
And so I do like that look. Yeah, because it does seem like a dressier watch with that high polish.
I would say this is definitely the Tudor that we bought is definitely a dressier diver for sure. So I wasn't sure how available this watch was going to be when it was released. I think it was released in June. So I texted Marissa about it, and she liked it. And, it was affordable. They were about $4,300, $4,350, I think, which is, yes, much less expensive than the $20K we would have dropped on the OP. Oh, God. So I texted Diane at the authorized dealer, and she said, this might be tough to get. These are sort of we're not going to have them in the store, just by, order only. So she said it may be a long wait. And I was like, I don't care. I think we're both into it. And I told her it's going to be a couple's watch for my wife and I. So I think one of the benefits of we have the same size wrist, give or take, right? So
yeah, because I like it a little bit more of a bracelet.
Yes.
So I like it a little bit loose. So it worked. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like watches to be a little bit tight as possible without cutting off circulation. So that actually works for our wrists. So I told Diane, yes, this is going to be a couple's watch. And it was right around your birthday, I think. So she was really excited. She's like, okay, I put in an order for you. And then 2 weeks ago? No, last week, she emailed me and said, I guess it was at the end of July, she texted or emailed and said, your watch is in. And we paid for it, and it was sent to the house. And yeah, you saw it before I did. You got to see it before I did. What were your first impressions of it?
No, I thought it was really very pretty. And I had sized it, and I was concerned to touch it because, you're meticulous about your watches. And I was concerned about if you were going to be okay with me touching it. And I didn't know what the rules were. And I had kind of joked about that, these come with more rules than our actual vows. And I wasn't sure the definition of a couple's watch and how much of it was mine and how much of it was yours. And so, yeah, I liked it. I didn't know how to set it. So I sized it and actually wore it that day with the incorrect time because I didn't know how to set it because I didn't quite understand the screw down crown and winding it and then setting it and how do you adjust the crown part of it. So.
Yeah, it's a little different than a quartz watch because you have to set it up. You pull it out to that first position so you can wind the watch, and then you pull it out the rest of the way to stop the hand. So, yeah, I have you size a lot of watches just because you have way better motor skills than I do and also better eyes. Well, I don't know.
Which I don't know if that's true anymore.
For yeah, it was probably
I do have good fine motor skills, but the eyesight is definitely. Yeah. I will joke that I have perfect vision. I'm just 46, so that's just.
Yeah, especially Grand Seiko with the very tiny screws. I always had you do those for me but I'm pretty good at pin and collar, so I can do that. But yeah, I'm actually more, and I've said this before. A lot of people don't like pin and collar, but I am always afraid I'm going to strip screws, especially the little tiny ones on Grand Seiko, or even Omega has 2 screws, I think, on each side. They're a little trickier to size. So you're just way more sure-handed than me. So if you're willing to do it, I'll always pass the buck to you. But yeah, I think I'd seen that you put a scratch on the watch, and I figured you did it with a tool. So
it's quite possible.
You were already regretting the couple's watch.
Yes. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. No, this one was actually pretty easy to size because it is just a screw. So that was kind of nice because it didn't come with all the other parts to it. And it was more also a matter of, so then when I sized it, and then when you tried it on, you were very particular about the clasp being in the center of your wrist.
Yes.
Which I also sort of struggled with because there are certain situations in the house that you seem to not care so much about, that you were not so particular about, that I was sort of surprised that you were so particular about this one thing.
That surprised you?
Well, yeah. We have both acknowledged in the years that we have been married that certain things bother me that don't bother you, and that sort of thing that happens. So,
well, I think a lot of people who are into watches, a couple, will have vastly different sized wrists. So they will buy a couple's pair of watches. There's a YouTuber, Bruce Williams, who just did a video talking about Cartier, and his wife is now interested in Cartier. So they're going to get different size tanks so they can have, it's like a couple's pair of watches, but I think it's a little more unique where we're actually sharing one watch instead of 2.
We have shared custody.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shared custody of the watch. Yes.
I think it's been pretty good so far. You don't, it works to my advantage that you don't always wear a watch in the house. You will rarely ever do unless you're going somewhere. You
Right.
just
Yeah. I don't think of it. And again,
yeah.
I've gotten so used to not wearing any jewelry because again, since COVID, I just wash my hands so often. And so I don't really think of it. And even with like our wedding rings and stuff, I don't often think of it as much. And then I wear them and I'm like, oh yeah, these are so pretty and I should wear them more often. And same thing with my watches of like, oh yeah, I can. And I also, you like to pick out the watch that I wear that night. And I just, you can wear, pick it out or whatever. So
Yeah, it's fun to do that. And even like we went out today for a while and I was like, oh, you should wear the watch. And you're like, oh, yeah.
yeah, I often kind of
Yeah.
need to be reminded
Yeah.
of the things I have too. So that's sort of, it doesn't ever occur to me. Sometimes I just, I get dressed and I'm ready to go. And then he reminds me that, no,
So do you think it will be challenging to co-own a watch with me as we go forward? What have been the pros and cons for you
I
so
sure
far?
hope not. I guess the
Being
scary...
married to me has been quite a challenge, so the watch ownership should be no different.
Everything with you is an adventure. No, so I hope not. It's sized. So that was one of the biggest hurdles that I was afraid of to touch it with sharp instruments and afraid of what was going to come at me if I had done something wrong.
See, now if you scratch it when you wear it, I couldn't care less. I hope you do.
Well, now, you've asked me if I wore it to work. So I wore it to work the other day. And I was going to wear it next week because I do have a coworker who's interested in seeing it. And I do have another coworker who we had joked when I told him that we had bought a watch together. And he said, oh, I'm imagining like a tandem watch that you two wear at the same time, which
like
then
a tandem bicycle.
Right. And then I sort of told him, well, that just sounds like, handcuffs. So pretty sure that's not what we bought. So I do intend to wear it on a day that he is
Watchdog
there.
after dark.
I do intend to wear it on a day that he is there so I can show him the watch. And I did want to show another coworker the watch. So I might wear it to work. But again, I don't often, because everything I wear, I like to be able to wipe it down and, we're in surgery. And so I'll put it in my locker, kind of tuck it away. So.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too challenging. I think we are very lucky that our wrists are a similar size. So I think a lot of times, like I know my friend Craig and his wife Heidi have a lot of watches in common that they like to wear from each other's collection. But Craig has massive wrists and Heidi has very small wrists. So he has to put it on. She likes to wear them on bracelets. So he has to switch out to a strap or something, which he doesn't always love either, which just makes it kind of a pain. But she has some really baller watches that he wants to wear. So if he does, he has to switch out a strap or something. We don't have to do that. And the 5-link bracelet on this Tudor is really nice. I don't see ever taking it off of that bracelet. Unless you want to, we can try. But I don't know. The bracelet's very comfortable.
Yeah, no, I like it. It's pretty comfortable. I like the weight of it. You had suggested before of like other watches that you own yourself to say, oh, you can wear this. And I kind of didn't really want to do that because I was afraid to damage or scratch your watches because you are kind of meticulous.
Well, I think if I'm telling you to wear it, that sort of comes with the territory.
Yeah, well, you would think so.
No,
but
again, like if you were reckless with it, like sizing it or something, then
I'm not reckless in anything. I am careful in life unless otherwise indicated.
I've watched you size before. It's a hair-raising adventure. No, otherwise I think it'll be pretty low stress. I do tend to wear a watch. I feel naked when I don't have a watch on. So even if you want to wear it someday and I'm wearing it, we could just switch off. So I don't think that'll be a problem. Yeah, trying to think of any other pros and cons. I think it's sort of kind of fun to have a watch together. And it was also, we get a cool watch and we each got to split it. So I didn't have to pay full price to wear a Tudor, which is also a real benefit.
Yeah, definitely.
So have you noticed, so this is like your first, it's entry-level luxury watch, I would say, Tudor is. Do you notice like a big jump in quality from your other watches or is it not really perceptible to you?
I haven't acknowledged that or realized that or anything. Again, you had said today about, oh, it doesn't, because when I wore it today, you said, oh, it's already wound, so it doesn't need to. But I guess that would be, and I'm not super particular about the time as you are, as far as like waiting for the
Oh yeah,
specific,
when you're setting it.
Yeah. So I'm not super specific about those kind of things. So
Yeah, I am. Like Tudor, I think, has the best 60 click bezel action. So I love the bezel action. The bezel action on this Lagoon Blue BB54 is awesome. I know you don't really appreciate
Yeah, I'm
that.
not a real fidget spinner. And so I did show it to one of the military guys I work with, and he did happen to like the spin of the bezel and that click and that feel of it.
Yeah.
But I would have to say that it's not really why I bought into it. I definitely just bought into it because I thought it was a really pretty watch, and I just happened to like the look of it and the depth of the dial that had the different texture to it. So I thought that was a really cool look.
Yeah, and hopefully as you get more and more comfortable just wearing it and interacting with it, you will wind it and set it. Because I don't know, winding an automatic watch is, we romanticize these things where normal people who aren't into watches like you may think it's kind of silly. But I don't know, like if you wind this and set it and then maybe wind your Soyosa or the automatic and mechanical Timex that you have, I think you'll realize that this Tudor just feels so buttery smooth when you're winding it. It's really great. And there's a really nice micro adjust. The micro adjust on the clasp is amazing on this too, the T-fit clasp. So I think we have to fiddle with that after one of us wears it so we can get a good fit. But again, you like to wear yours loose. So
I will say, I think in sharing the watch, because you're such a watch fanatic, that I probably wear it more than I would normally wear a watch. Like today, it wouldn't have occurred to me, but because you had mentioned it, I did wear it. So I probably would say that I definitely would wear this more often, being that we're sharing it. So
yeah, cool. Well, I'll put a link to the watch in the show notes, of course. It's a Tudor BB54 Lagoon Blue. It's thin, like 11 millimeters thin, 37 millimeter. Now, I think I've seen a lot of guys rocking this watch on like the Tudor Facebook groups. But I would say it definitely is a little more feminine in person than the renders online. That would be my impression. Is that the impression you got? A little more feminine. But
yeah, which
have no
I sort of
problem wearing
favor because then it felt like I'd get to wear it more often.
Yeah.
Which you had said that of like, oh, it's probably a little more feminine than I had expected. And so I was sort of fine with that because that means it's more mine.
But yeah, and that's cool. I'm excited for you to wear it. I want you to wear it more than I wear it. It brings me excitement when you are into watches. As dorky as that sounds. Okay. But anyway, well, I think we can end there. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so.
Anything you'd like to plug? Like a TV show, podcast you're listening to? Anything?
No, not that I can think of.
Okay. You're watching this show Smoke. What's that about? You've been watching that.
It's about a fire investigator who also sets fires, which you actually find out pretty early on. But I am a true crime fanatic. So I had actually seen this story years ago on Forensic Files, which was a true story of a fire investigator in Ohio who had set fires and they had convicted him. And so this story is sort of loosely based on him, and they do add to it. But it's really very good. I actually finished it today. So.
Every time you turn it on, I end up falling asleep. But it does seem like a very interesting
It's kind of a cool story.
Yeah. I'd like to say that I'd go back and check it out, but I probably won't because I'm just bad at keeping up with TV shows. If we don't knock it out in one sitting, then the likelihood of me getting back to it is very low.
Yeah, there's a few side stories that I do wish... Now that the show had ended, I do wish they had explored more. So I guess that sort of leaves an opening for maybe season 2.
Yeah,
it is created by Dennis Lehane, who is actually one of my favorite authors, and he's sort of a local New England guy. And he had also created Blackbird, which was another Apple show. But
awesome. Okay, well, yes, we are sharing a watch for better or for worse, just like our vows. Yes. Well, maybe we'll have Marissa join the podcast maybe in like 6 months to see how it's going. Hopefully one of us doesn't break the watch or drop the watch or anything. But Marissa, I know you were super excited to do this, so I really appreciate it, and I hope you had fun.
I did. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, and there she goes, Marissa. Thank you again, my dear, for joining the podcast. I hope you enjoyed the interview. That was a lot of fun. Yes, we will try to get her back on, I don't know, maybe once a year as we go forward here to give you all an update on what it's like sharing a watch with me. hopefully it's easier than being married to me. That's for sure. I will also try to share links of all the watches we talked about that she has in her collection for sure. She does have the Timex Jacques, I think that's how you say it, collaborations. That's an artist that Timex has collaborated with on a number of watches. Now, they look like Datejusts. They're a Datejust homage, but this artist's designs are on the dials, and they're pretty collectible. I think Marissa has said a lot of them, the early models anyway, sold out fast, and then they went on eBay for more than retail. So that happens with ladies' Timex as well. She said the latest editions are a little easier to come by, and you see that a lot with moon swatches and everything else. The hype dies down a little bit, and then you can actually buy them at retail and not have to pay a markup on eBay or on the secondary market. So yes, I will try to share links to all of the watches she has in her collection if you'd like to see them. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Yes, I think it's going to be a solo episode next week, and then we will have Keith back on. I think that's what the schedule includes, always subject to change, of course. Again, thank you so much for listening. You can shoot me a message, or you can watch the YouTube version of this video and leave a comment there. I always appreciate the feedback. Love to hear from everybody. Instagram messages as well, please. Let them fly. Been hearing from a lot of people. And yes, remember, sometimes you're the dog, sometimes you're the hydrant, but hey, at least you're outside. We'll catch you on the next episode of the Watchdog Podcast. See you later.